Pranams.
Pranam. Pranams. More new obeisances.
We have sound, that's good, and we have devotees. This is Jadu Gopal Prabhu. We're in Ireland. He's been taking care of me, driving, pick me up at the airport, chanting Hare Krishna, taking prasadam together, all the important things. But he's very shy. But he's very tall. Anyway, I told him we're with family, so be here happily. And we're going to try to speak quietly because it's, how old is it? I don't know how old the house is, but the walls are quite thin. Usually the modern houses, the walls are thin. The old houses, they're thick. All right. By the way, can you hear me? Or do I have to speak louder?
Yes, perfectly well. Yes.
I'll make Leela Moy Prabhu a little quieter. Okay.
Okay, that's good.
It's all good. No, I'm making you quiet. I had the loudspeaker on. All right. Can you sit closer? Because otherwise we can't get both in. All right. So, Mini Vandanam, Odai, Paramanandu. Oh, I better, if I start naming the devotees, we'll lose our Vandanam, won't we? Okay, we're in Ireland. We've got to speak quietly because we're surrounded by sleeping bodies, but awake souls. Okay, we won't get too philosophical. Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitanscha Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Anmilitam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Mahaviranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvije Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhara Shri Vasadi Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So dear devotees, excuse our lighting, but anyhow, we're doing our best to be with you on okay, yes, I know, very early here, but very late elsewhere. And Vrindavaneshwari and Leelamoy in the very late zone. Prema Sindhu Prabhu. Maybe in India, maybe in South Africa. I don't quite know where you are. Last known location was India. Sevarupuri, South Africa. Narottam Nitai Prabhu, welcome Prabhu from the beginning. You're with us early today, happily. Paramananda Prabhu, in somewhere with the blues. Oh, he's in Jaipur, I believe. Jaipur, I saw, I think, a finger of approval. Is that right, Jaipur? Yes, okay. And Prehananda Devi Dasi, by the ceiling, I can understand she's in the temple room in Tomsk, silver birch ceiling. And Danake in Florida, Priya Sundari in Buenos Aires, perhaps. I could be wrong because she's traveling. And yes, oh, I got it right. Okay, wonderful. And Jivana Devi Dasi and her dove. Jivana and her dove in San Jose. So, dear devotees, happy to meet you. And I've been trying to get Facebook. Facebook comes up, but it's doing strange things. I'd like to be able to see who's there and just to know who's there, but I can't connect to the back to basics. But I hope it's just me. Okay, so dear devotees, we are in Ireland. We've been partying with the devotees, and we are in the company of probably two devotees who are right now in auspicious places in India. So, Prema Sindhu Prabhu, would you like to share anything about where you are just now? Perhaps Navadip? If you like to share a picture is worth 1,000 words. If you are somewhere with a picture of the temple domes or anything, that would be a shot in the arm early morning, a very good beginning of the day for us. But I know, okay, Prabhu, if the opportunity comes, let us know in due course. But Paramananda Prabhu, we know, is in the Holy Land somewhere. We can see the sky, and if we can, spotlight. Okay, we got a spotlight. So I'm looking at the wall. Are you in Jananivas?
Maharaj, Arya Nivas.
Arya Nivas. Okay. Oh yes, Arya Nivas. Okay.
We have Keshavanand and Ram Sundar in Jai Nivas.
Jai Nivas, right. Prabhu, would you like to share a little bit from Govinda Ji's land, where everyone says Govinda's name in the whole city? Nobody in that city cannot have said their name.
Yes, even the Muslims are saying that.
Sure.
Yeah, it is a very special place. So we just arrived actually a few days ago, and I had no fortune of seeing Govindaji yet.
No.
But Keshavanand and Ram Sundar, I think they went. Oh no, they went to Gopinath. So Gopinath, who is apparently wearing a watch. There's a new urban legend going on around. He's wearing a watch, yes, but the watch that is powered by the heartbeat. There are watches like that, and it's ticking. And sometimes Pujari is making a show of taking the watch off the hand of Gopinath, and it stops ticking. And as soon as they put it back on the hand, it starts ticking. So anyhow, like Keshavananda put it, it's a modern day miracle.
Now that is quite classic.
And then we did go to Galta, and that is also very intimately connected to our line, the meeting place of Baladev Vidyabhushan with the assembly of different pundits and representatives of different sampradayas. And it was quite intense as far as we know. According to the historical records, they even invited militant Vaishnava groups just to keep peace, just to be present there with their weapons and look intimidating just in case some riots would break out. But anyhow, there were no riots, and Baladev Vidyabhushan was humored at first because he was very young, extremely young. but accepted because he was originally initiated into, I think Sri Sampradaya. So that gave him some credential to represent bona fide in their, in their sense, bona fide Sampradaya. So he was able to say something, to speak. And in the beginning, of course, he challenged them by saying that Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary in Vedanta Sutra, because they required that to be and authoritative enough to continue that very prestige worship of Sri Govinda, because that was actually a privilege to a different line. And then they challenged that right. And that's why King, he sent for Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who couldn't come because he was quite old at that time. He sends Baladev Vidyabhushan, his disciple. So the challenge was accepted. And a long story short, Govinda dictates Vedanta Sutra to Baladev Vidyabhushan, gives him inspiration, and then inspired by Sri Govinda, Baladev Vidyabhushan very quickly composes Vedanta Sutra commentary that he calls Govinda Bhashya, and then presents it to the Pandits. And it was so astonishingly perfect that also it's a historical record. I mean, that do exist, not just the legends, that all of them wanted to get initiation into his line, becoming his disciple, his guru disciple, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur disciple. But he stopped them and said that all these sampradayas, they have place. And it's a will of Krishna to manifest in so many different forms and so many different lines. And so he stopped them and just humbly asked not to interrupt, not to create any trouble, and let the Gaudiya Vaishnavas continue worship of Sri Govinda, Radha Govinda, because they wanted to remove Radharani. They said, oh, she is not officially wed to Krishna. She's a girlfriend, must be in a different room. Yeah, quite a few challenges. The three main challenges were put forward. And yes, they agreed until this day. If you go to Govindaji, the pujaris, they're followers of the Gaudiya line. You will see Mahaprabhu, Nityananda dancing, and you will see on the pillars facing the main altar, you will see 6 Goswamis. And their sign, their reliefs on the pillars, but their sign, Shri Rupa, Shri Sanatan, Shri Gopal Bhatta, Shri Raghunath Bhatta, Shri Raghunath Das, and Shri Jiva. So they're all there and nicely continuing. Beautiful darshan. So we hope to go today, Maharaj. But today we also have the occasion. We're having lunch at Radha Binod, where we went yesterday. The deity of Lokanath Das Goswami, which is also a very sweet temple. Me and Keshwananda were wondering, why is that? We go to all other temples. There's a Radha Damodar temple right around the corner, and it's always full of people, just packed anytime, any given moment. And you go to Radha Vinod, nobody is there. And then we remember Lokanath Das Goswami's mood. He didn't really like people around him. Didn't like to be bothered. So perhaps there's some connection there. And it's a very sweet temple. And also pujaris are our good friends, the Parikshit Maharaj. But he delegated the worship to his son now. So he's a back-pushing person at the moment. So as soon as we showed up, immediately he said, lunch, lunch, lunch. Well, I was Ekadashi. So we said, okay, today is a good time for lunch. He said, yes, yes, please come. So we're going there today. And yeah, we went to Radha Damodar, of course, that's just around the corner from there. Also a very sweet temple. And there were a group of Rajasthani village ladies singing a very enthusiastic kirtan. And that is to be posted by Keshwananda Prabhu in his travel journal. I don't know where he posts, Facebook or Instagram, maybe, I don't know. But he will post it for sure. And then we have this plan on Sunday to go to Karoli. And that's the place where Madan Mohan, who also originally came to Jaipur because of all the troubles the Muslim invaders were creating in Vrindavan. So he stayed here, and then, as the story goes, one princess, one Rani, Maharani, she was doing worship. She was a big devotee of Madan Mohan, and they had some wonderful relationship between the Lord and his devotee. And She was to be wed to Maharaj of Karoli. So she went there. And then Madan Mohan appears to the Maharaja here and says, no, I want to go there too. So please, you now arrange for me to be transferred there and make sure there's a nice temple for me. That happened. That happened not long ago, a few hundred years ago, maybe 300 years ago. So Madan Mohan went there and Maharaja built a beautiful temple. It's a village. I was there in 1993, and I remember it was a village around the hill, and on top of the hill, right in the middle of it, there was a beautiful temple of Madan Mohan, built in Rajasthani style. Of course, it's a Haveli, not like a grand temple, but a Haveli where priests and servitors, they live together with the deity, and the deity is the proprietor of that place. He's in the middle, and they're all around in the little rooms. So we're thinking, hopefully we can go there. We've been talking about it for many years. So now is the chance. And I said to Keshwarada, if I'm alone here, I will never go. Even if Krishna Priya is here, I'm probably not going to go. Even if Ram Sundar is here, I'm probably not going to go. If you are here, then it's almost 90% that I can go. I have some inspiration to go. So the more the merrier. We wanted to get Mohanananda Prabhu, but he's busy, engaged. That would have been 100%. Then we have 5 people to go. Anyhow, this is the plan.
And
it's
no
very fresh
room,
here. Yes.
no room in the car for me this time. Oh dear.
Oh, you're always with us. You're in at least in 4 different what do you call it? Not many expansions, because in the heart of each one of us, Maharaj.
Oh.
So we have 4 expansions of Madhusudan Maharaj, eternally present. And yes, I forgot to say, as you know, in Galta, as you walk through the temples, you go up the hill, there's the temple of Suryadev right on top of the hill. And the place, other places, a little bit, donation center, let's just say. But that place is kirtan centered. So if you want to go there, they don't really care. Are you going to give something, not going to give something? Anyway, we're giving to the deities. Of course, that's our duty. But they're not concerned about that. What they're concerned about, will there be kirtan or not? And they're quite insisting. So you cannot leave that place without having a kirtan. And this time, like, we met the pujari, the male pujari, who was a big enthusiast. We met his daughter. This time, she was doing some market duty. She was away, and there was a wife and a younger daughter who was only 16. And as soon as we showed up, she just runs into the house, comes back with this bag filled with the instruments, and brings one amridanga looking like drums. Keshavananda could play some a little bit on that. And they just say, now you're going to do kirtan. So that wasn't like a request or something. And then she was almost jumping in ecstasy and telling us how she loves the kirtan and how it helps her in the difficult times of her life. And so we did sing, and then again they requested another song. And while we're singing, the tourists are coming. Some Japanese tourists coming, some Western tourists coming. And somehow I thought they're just going to pick in and just leave because they're seeing some Westerners doing something unusual there. But no, they did sit down on the back, and they also got some instruments, those things that you can clang, like little, I don't know what it is.
The wooden with little cymbals inside that jingle.
Yes, those ones. And they all joined the kirtan happily. And then we had some opportunity to talk about Krishna Kirtan, to present Krishna Kirtan. They were super happy. And that was the first time for them to be in India, of course, to be in Jaipur. So I'm quite impressed by that. So that was another happy event in Galta. Monkeys are still there. All good. And another thing we did, as you enter from the other side, the parking side, there are 2 temples. One is Ram temple, another one is Krishna temple. So that the discussion happened in the Krishna temple. It's on the left.
Mm-hmm.
That's where all the pundits gathered. Of course, the Ram temple was also engaged because of so many people gathering. So the Pujari is also very friendly. And then he showed off his Sanskrit school with kids. There were about 10 kids over there. And of course, we had our Ram Sundar, who is similar age, we can say. The kids were maybe 12, 13, 14. Ram Sundar is 20 now.
Similar age, come on.
Similar age, Maharaj. So we asked them to chant some Gita shlokas, which they did, to their credit, they did quite nicely, all together. And then we asked Ram Sundar Prabhu to chant Premadhama Deva Stotram, and they were quite astonished. I would say they didn't know what to say. Hearing these verses, the beautiful Sanskrit verses coming from an American, properly dressed with nice tilak, dhoti, kurta, brahmachari. So Ram Sundar, he acted following the footsteps of Baladev Vidyabhushan, protecting the prestige of our line, the prestige of Mahaprabhu's line, Rupa Goswami's line. So that was very sweet. So this is the report, Maharaj.
Well, that's a wonderful report. And I'm only gently thinking that we've been there again and again. We know the place, we know the fragrance in the air. And you did mention we do know the monkeys a little bit too. Well, we don't know them personally. In Navadip, we knew them personally, but in this area, they're a little different. But the devotees gathered here, I'm clicking to see the gallery view. Oh, Priyananda has been there, I think. And maybe one, I don't know if anyone else has been there. So would you like to set the scene for what, first of all, for the, for Gauta and the Surya temple?
Maharaj, you asking me or Priyananda?
Oh, no, I'm asking you because you're there. And I was just thinking who else has been there. And I think Priyananda Devirasi, she has been there.
I think, yes, Priyananda, she's been following us on our parikramas pretty much everywhere.
Well, would you like to ask then Priyananda Devirasi? Would you like to set the scene? How will you describe Gauta and the walk to the Surya temple and the Surya temple? Can you take us there by hearing? Well, us hearing, you speaking.
Well, don't know what. What I recall the most, it's of course the path to the Surya temple, because it's always in the presence of Surya Dev from above. And last time we went there with Devashish Prabhu as well. And I remember everyone was like quite worried whether he can. No.
You've walked away from the internet, Priyananadi.
Come back.
Oh, you've walked away from the internet.
We're actually remembering Devashish Prabhu yesterday too, as we're walking under the watchful eye of Surya Dev. Rihanna, you're far from internet source, so you're breaking up. Can you come back where you were just now?
She probably can't hear us too, anyway.
But anyway, to conclude, to the credit of Devashish Prabhu, he made it very nicely and joined the kirtan. And it's always challenging because we have to go up the hill, and we start with the Harinam Sankirtan, of course. And by the time we get to the top of the Surya temple, very few devotees are still singing. Then we have to catch our breath to start another kirtan in the Surya temple. So let's just wait a little bit more for Priyananda to rejoin us. Oh, there she is, okay.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's more like personal remembrance. I remember Amesin, who he went up this, there's some special lake on the way to the top. And he jumped from the cliff in this lake, where all the people are taking bath, ablution. It's if you go to Suryadev temple, it's on the left. It's some place for taking
Called
bath.
Gomukh, and it's non
Yes.
different from the Ganges, apparently.
Oh, you see, yes. But Ame Singhu, he went all the way to the top and then just dived in. Yes, things like this. With Chinese devotees, we went once also. I remember Sugandha Kanti, yoga teacher. They are fun. They like taking pictures, but still you can see that so much goes through the sincere, simple hearts. And as for Suryadev, I mean, who am I to tell? But when you look at these deities, you can understand that they were ancient. And it's like from those eras when, I don't know, like people really like, I mean, still now going on, like worship demigods and so on. And there is Suryadev and his spouse, I suppose, nearby. Yes, and always a friendly pujari on the top. And sometimes his wife was there. Yeah, and they liked kirtan a lot. So, and they always have some decoration on the floor, like rangoli or something like this. Yes, very peaceful place, but you need some stamina or some determination to get to the top. Yeah. Well, that's my remembrance.
Just last piece of information, Maharaj. It's the deity of Suryadev, one altar, and then to the left, it's Suryadev and his consort, Sandhya, also known as Aruni, the sunrise. So a sun is married to a sunrise. We're also
Yes.
talking, contemplating about that.
Yes, and you remember as you get higher and higher, there is a beautiful also view of the Jaipur there, and near the temple as well, I believe. Like you can see almost half of the state, like very far. Yes, very warm remembrance.
Very warm remembrance of the sun god. And an interesting observation that the sun god is present with you, or the sun is present with you as you, every time I've been there, it's been very hot as we walk up. As we walk up the stone, not the stone steps, but the large stones that make the pathway that go up, zigzag pathway, as far as
And last time, Maharaj, I think someone said that actually, like most of the way we do by bus, and it's kind of similar serpent-like path. But in the past, of course, people were going there by foot. So it's add to this road as well.
And by the way, my little bottle here, which is very un-Vedic, being a plastic bottle, does have Ganges recent top up with that Ganges water from the Gomukh on the side of the mountain. And just a little bit, whenever we go there, at least my impression of Galta and that area, this is very near to Jaipur, and it feels very Brindavanish when you go. And I think every time I've gone, we've seen peacocks, sometimes several peacocks on the way, and
Hundreds, Maharaj.
And it's kind of dry, but it's got all these bushes, very similar to Brindavan. And then they also have the two kinds of monkeys. They've got the langur, which are like in Navadip, and the little ones, which are like those in Brindavan. And so it's a dryish area, but bushy with trees and peacocks and
parrots.
Quiet. And Galta, we've done also, happily, the Krishna temple's on the left as you're going towards the hill. And we've done there before also with Paramanand Prabhu, I'm sure. We did kirtan there in the past, and doing kirtan and Hari Katar and trying to, just not to like imagine, but trying to feel what took place there. And as Paramananda said, not so long ago, this establishing the Gaudiya Sampradaya in the way that is recognized by the Pandits, etc. And so it's another example of what looks like an adversity when one section of perhaps the Ramanandis, the followers of Ramanujacharya, but there are different sections. And this section, they were making that challenge that, as Paramananda Prabhu said, that, you've added Radha to the worship. You Gaudiya Vaishnavas have added Srimati Radharani to the worship of Krishna, added her to her deity there, and then they're making these debates about that this is not proper. And so they were in fact they were very strong in that area, and they were going to take over the worship of the deity. I mean, it had come to a big head, and then the king was in a bit of a quandary, because he knew what was right, but was not able to defeat these very strong pandits. And as we have come to learn, the pandits, those who can play with the words, and those who are Sanskritians, they can come up with many arguments, and they can be very forceful. And even though we know that their debate, no, it's not right, but we can't defeat them, if you like, then with this, then the king, he actually called to Vishwanath Chakravarti at that time, and he wanted that he will come, because he was the prominent Sanskritian, but the prominent Vaishnava who, as we know today, his writings, Vishwanath Chakravarti's writings, they're drawing so much from what appeared to be like a simple 4-line verse, and he draws so much from there. So anyway, the king wanted, with the king, he's the king of Jaipur, and he's the one who Gopinath has taken shelter of, Govindaji has taken shelter of. We can say, the king gave shelter to Govindaji, but it's, of course, we know it's the other way around. The Lord is the doer, and he came to give the opportunity of service for the king. So the king was in a difficult position, and this aggressive assertion from the Pandit section. So what looked like, no, this is terrible, this is very unfortunate, turned into, again, a pillar of support to show Mahaprabhu's teachings and the worship of Radha Krishna. And you see, before Mahaprabhu, Radha Radharani, we take again her name very cautiously. She was sort of, as we could say, not in the picture in the worship of the Lord. Largely Narayan, Lakshmi Narayan, and those who worship can see and understand that Ishvara, Parama, Krishna, Satchitananda Vigraha, then they know, okay, Krishna, he's the origin. So some section, they are Vaishnavas worshipping Krishna. But the Radha Krishna worship was very rare until very rare, very hidden in a very narrow line, until Mahaprabhu's appearance. And Mahaprabhu made everything clear, revealed, if you like, revealed Srimati Radharani. So this challenge, this kind of difficult situation, drew the king's earnestness it to be resolved, like officially, so that they will be defeated. He called for Vishwanath Chakravarti, but he was aged. And at that time, so Vishwanath Chakravarti, he gave the instruction for Baladev Vidyabhusan, his very bright student in this way, that he will go, he can represent our line. And so with the support, with the instruction of Vishwanath Chakravarti, with that will behind, then Baladev Vidyabhusan went there, and then he was challenged quite aggressively, and then he said, and agreed with them. Okay, within 7 days we will come with our bhasya, our commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. I thought I heard more people coming in. Probably waking people up. Sorry, devotees. So, but this way, then Baladev Vidyabhusan praying to Govindaji, the Govindaji we are discussing, that Rupa Goswami rediscovered, found his location there in Vrindavan under the direction of Mahaprabhu to discover the principal deities and the principal places of pastimes. That Govindaji who is established by Krishna's grandson, this Govindaji we're talking about. And so this Govindaji who is now there with the savor of the king in Jaipur, then Baladev Vidyabhushan came to Govindaji, explained everything to Govindaji, as it were, and then Baladev himself expressing that Govindaji was writing, the deity was writing the commentary, but with his hand, this kind of transmission. And then the Ramanandis, when 1 week later he went back with this full commentary, they were astounded that it had come, and they listened, they heard. And so this was another of those examples, and they were not only listened and heard, they were convinced that, okay, yes, here you are. Now we are satisfied, and we are the Pandit section, and you have made it clear to us with the authoritative way, reference to the Vedas, etc.
Remember his deity name, Maharaj?
Excuse me?
Baladev Vidyabhushan's deity's name. Directly related to this incident.
If I was sitting beside Keshwanandru, I'd probably be magnetized enough to remember, because I always have to ask him. But Baladev Vidyabhusan worshipped Gauranga Mahaprabhu, isn't that right? And, okay.
Maybe. And Radha, Vijay, Govinda.
Oh, Vijay Vigraha. No, Vijay
Govinda. Vijay Govinda Maharaj. Victorious Govinda.
Vijay Govinda. Oh my goodness.
And how the deities came, I do not know. But I also remembered yesterday, while we're with at the place, the temple of Radha Vinod, that the deities actually, the Goswamis came, they did not search for the deities. They were composing scriptures, they were rediscovering the holy places. That was their seva, as directed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But the deities, Krishna was searching for their devotees, for his devotees. And that's how the deities would come. They would call them, starting from Madhavendra Puri story, Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami story, where Govinda appeared in his dream and called him, please, you come and rediscover me. Then who else was there? Radha Vinod, Lokanath Das Goswami, Madan Mohan, Sanatan Goswami, Gopinath of Madhu Pandit. They all called the devotees, please, you come, we're here. Take us away from the bushes, take us from the ground and worship us. So Krishna was looking for his devotees. And really, it's a sweet, the loving search of the Lord.
Beautiful. And yes, and now I'm being reminded how long it is I've been to Jaipur and Vrindavan. Oh dear. Okay. You see, when we are there and going on parikrama, we're refreshed.
It's a sign, Maharaj.
It's a sign. It's a sign of decay of this human. Okay. Hare Krishna. And by the way, when I was mentioning this, the stone, the big stones and everything, I was thinking of not getting to Galta, but from where today you park the car. I'm sure Baladev Vidyabhusan didn't park a car. But anyway, from there, when you walk up to the Surya temple, I seem to remember that was felt very old, the stony path to the top. And by the way, and also for the devotees, like, to set the scene about that, the Ganga, why it's considered as Ganga, that is on the side of a mountain, and then the spring comes out of the side of the mountain, and it just doesn't look logical, because any water that would fall, gravity goes downwards, it'll be down in the bottom, not on the side of a dry mountain. As we mentioned, it's quite a kind of a dry area. It's Jaipur, it's right by the desert. And it is dry, the air is dry, and Surya is strong. And this way, anyway, that Ganga, the Gangotri, where the Ganga is coming, that's considered as the Ganga, because it's like miraculously, amazingly coming out from the side of the mountain. And of course, Ganga is there, and Gangotri in the Himalayas. In fact, Gomukh, isn't it? Gomukh it is, not Gangotri, I think. Gomukh, the place of the appearance on earth of the Ganges. And in Mathura Mandal, there is everywhere that is in all holy places. So we've also been, when we were in Vrindavan, or staying in Vrindavan and Govardhan, we also went to Gangotri, Jamunotri, Kedarnath, and Badrinath within Mathura Mandal. And that was quite an adventure, and definitely off the tourist track. That was, you've got to be a little determined to reach those places. And the last of those places in that circuit, in Mathura Mandal, is Kedarnath, the equivalent of Kedarnath, and it's on the top of a hill. And the sun god also is looking over that hill, I remember. I'm not sure if there's another sun god temple there, but the sun shines very strongly as you go up that hill, and there's almost no vegetation around. Oh wow, Paramanandra was definitely transported us to Jaipur. Hare Krishna. So where are your partners in devotional service, not partners in crime? Paramananda Prabhu. Are they sitting around you? No?
No, Maharaj, they're in different hotels, quite packed. It's a high season, and lots of not just Indian tourists, but foreign tourists. The weather is fantastic. It's very cool. And Surya is strong, but it's still quite cool during the day. So it is manageable. So the hotels were full. They're staying in Jainivas. And Krishna Priya is attending to some business at the moment. So it's just me. But otherwise, we're together during the day and during the evenings.
And what about our famous Jaipur person, means Amir Sindhu Prabhu, who Priyanana mentioned just now, who climbed up, and I just can imagine only Amir Sindhu will climb up on the cliff and then jump. Oh my goodness. Jump into
We also remember that story. That was unforgettable. And there's another story connected to that pond. And by the way, I have to say, there were not a single pilgrim taking bath by some reason. It was very quiet, just few, I mean, there were foreign people, foreigners, tourists, but no Indian pilgrims, interestingly. So we noticed that. But when Ajita Krishna Prabhu came, and we know that he's on the wheelchair, when he dived, that caused quite a stir among the pilgrims, because they thought that he's going to commit suicide. He's not going to make it out of there, because obviously his legs are not working. But he just suddenly jumped, rolled off his wheelchair into the pond and disappeared for quite some time. Really, he didn't come up to the surface. Maybe it was almost a minute, maybe more than a minute. I started worrying about it. But he wanted to check if it's actually a bottomless lake or not. So he was diving quite deep. to make sure. And when he came up, he said, "No, I did not reach the bottom." And I dived quite deep, and I did not reach the bottom. And of course, all the pilgrims were very much relieved. They were singing his glories, let's just say, saying Jaya Jaya. So that pond have a lot of stories to tell.
Our sweet devotees.
And like Maharaj said, it's a very unusual place. It's like somebody cracked the mountain. Like there's a solid mountain and somebody comes, cracks it open, and then the spring out of nowhere starts flowing. And really, it's just defying the whole, the laws of physics. It's a very interesting place. And since really ancient time, there was a rishi. There was always a rishi who is causing all these things to happen. And so there was a rishi millions of years ago who was there and who wanted to take a bath because he was aged. And he loved going to, apparently according to the story, he was there, that was his meditating place, but by his siddhis, he would go to Haridwar to take a bath. And then he got aged and then said, "Oh, now I cannot go. My siddhis are a little bit weaker than before. So it would be very nice." And he prayed to Ganges, and Ganges mercifully appeared. There's a long story to that. I'm just telling a very short version of it. And anyhow, Maharaj, so we will be in touch as we go to Madan Mohan and Karoli. That will be on Sunday. So we'll join the BBBC on the way there. And here comes a pilgrim.
You know that's... Oh, here's a special pilgrim all the way from genuine Thai, from genuine Thailand. Krishna Priyadi Dandavat, good to see you. Good to see you there also in Jaipur. Wonderful.
Yes, Maharaj, by your blessing.
By Gurudev's blessings, coming to Govindaji of Rupa Goswami and all the deities of so many of the great souls before. And by the way, yes, Parmanandru, you say?
There's some special connection to Govindaji. I can tell it's a nice story. It's a pastime between the Lord and his devotee. Because Krishna Priya, when we just met, she really wanted to know who Krishna is because she saw me doing things all the time and devotees coming. And I tried to explain, no success. Still asking the same question. How does he look like? Who is he? What's his nature? And this and that and that. What is my qualification? So one day Ashram Maharaj came. So I said, "Maharaj, please, you do it. You know, she's been pestering me for the last few years. So you do it, do your best." So he failed, I have to say. And then I said, I'm thinking, if Ashram Maharaj failed, then what can be done? And then we were thinking to go to Jaipur. And I said, okay, let him show himself if he wishes so. So I'm taking you to the Govindaji temple. There's a beautiful temple in Jaipur. Of course, Krishna Priya had no clue about this temple. And so we went there. And any of you who were there, you can understand, it's thousands of people, like any given darshan, 3,000 to 5,000, sometimes more. So we're standing on the very back, and it's a huge place. Maharaj knows very well. And of course, everybody's trying to gather closer to the deities, to the altar. And then Pujari is busy preparing it. And then at some point, closer to the darshan, they call the VIPs who are standing right next to the altar to come inside and sit by the altar. It's a special treatment. And then I'm standing on the very back with Krishna Priya, and then Pujari just turns towards us. It took me a while, it took me maybe a whole minute to figure out where is he pointing, because he was kind of pointing at us. And of course, I never thought he's pointing at us. So I'm looking around me, trying to, understand, trying to help some people to notice the Pujari pointing to them. But then I would turn around and look around, and then turn back, and the Pujari is still pointing at pretty much me. And then he does this. He points at me, and then and I'm like, her? And he says, yes, come, from far away. And I'm quite shocked by that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I taking her to the very altar. Then Pujari comes, come. And then he stops me. You stay. She comes. And then he takes her right next to the altar, like the closest you can get to Krishna. So when the curtains opened up, the first thing she saw were the lotus feet of Govindaji. It's right there. And that was astonishing. In that moment, I actually started believing in God. Because really, how otherwise you can explain something like that? Out of thousands of people gathered, this Pujari singles out in a huge crowd this girl here, who was so much wanted to understand who Krishna was.
Yes,
Really.
Yes, I also like don't understand. And Mujari is like a show the hand on the deity. It's kind of like.
And yes, and I remember Pujari was like trying to tell her, here.
Yeah.
Here's him. You look. So she has some special connection there.
Jai Govindaji. Wonderful. So super to see you and to see the team, your team there. You got a super team for the pilgrimage. And one thing came to mind when you were mentioning about Radha Vinod, the deity of Lokanath. Correct me if I get any names wrong here, but Radha Vinod, the deity of Lokanath Goswami. And you're saying that temple, it's surprisingly just very quiet. Even there can be so many people in the other temples, so many people in other temples. And this is a parallel to Vrindavan, the Samadhi Mandir of Lokanath Goswami. When we go there, and that's the Radha Gokulananda temple. And there, that temple, even when Vrindavan is like packed on certain occasions, somehow that temple is just kept like sacred. I mean, I'm not saying the other temples are not sacred, but it's kept secret, maybe secret. So it's kept quiet. So it's interesting that also in Jaipur, the temple identified with Lokanath Goswami is also kind of a quiet, a gentle place where you can go sweetly do some kirtan bhajan, talk with the devotees, chant japa without like the big rush.
Also remembering Radha Gokulananda temple and that connection yesterday, so that it's not coincidence, must be some Lord's Leela.
And Lokanath very back pushing, I mean, to the extreme, and very like solitary. It's like almost like keeping his zone a little private. Hare Krishna. And we do have Jivana with us. Jivana, would you or your dove like to say a word or two? Because we only have you on Thursdays, not on Sundays, unfortunately, because you have other seva going on at that exact time. A little Jivana input to us all?
Well, Maharaj, after that, I'm kind of like shell shocked. That is such a beautiful description, and like you said, you feel like you got to visit there. And I'm just thinking how tiny I feel, which is the truth. I really don't feel as tiny as I am, but that was amazing, beautiful story. And Jaipur is so beautiful. I did go at one time, but it wasn't like that. I don't really remember very much, but we did get to see the Govindaji deity. That was amazing. We got in the temple there, and you're right, it's like thousands of people there. But I was there, believe it or not, with my mother and my mother-in-law. I know, random, right? But somehow or other we got to go there. But I really don't want to say much because I want to keep all this other beautiful thoughts and memories in my own little brain for the moment. And that story of Krishna Priya is just insanely, amazingly unbelievable. That is so beautiful and so classic. Oh my gosh. And even how they called Krishna Priya, and not even Paramananda, who looks like a Westerner, right? And they're calling Krishna Priya, you come. Now he can stay there. You come. Oh, anyway, yeah, I'm just thinking about that and don't really want to change the subject on that one at all.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I think Rupa Noga Prabhu may be wanting to say something. I see him reciprocating very nicely with the parikrama. I think he's been with us walking the whole way. as we've been hearing just now.
Well, not really. Thunderbats, I'm in Nimbin and I'm back at the Vedic Vegetarian Gaudiya Math restaurant here in Nimbin.
Oh, yes.
So I believe that they're all closing down because they're all heading to India next week. But I'm very proud because it's the only decent restaurant in town anyway, and they're making a real impact. And they're starting up a dam here as well, I believe. So Krishna's consciousness is expanding.
Okay, and they've got the environment, and they really do have a suitable part of the section who live there are certainly suitable candidates for Krishna consciousness.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're in Nimbin, my goodness. So is Nimbin and Thailand, are they like next door neighbors?
Oh, I have to come back from my 90-year-old mother, but otherwise I'll be in Thailand, I think.
Oh, your mum. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Oh, and my grandchildren. But apart from that, I would be on that island in Thailand.
Anyway,
me,
it's not where we are, it's what we're doing and how we are proceeding in our lives. So you're always in your Krishna conscious journey. And wonderful to see that restaurant and the ashram that's coming up, by the way. Oh. Maybe pressed the wrong button on the phone. It happens. Hare Krishna.
Please check the chat. We have a question by Narottam Nitai
Check the
Prabhu.
chat. Oh my goodness. Check the chat. Dear Maharaj, is it correct to understand that the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan can exemplify our attempts to serve the Dham in various ways? I am wondering if any devotees know of a book by Bhaktivinoda Thakur or other acharyas where this is highlighted. Well, the first part, is it correct to understand that the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan can exemplify our attempts to serve the Dham in various ways? Well, they are an example, and their example is in many ways. And what a great man does, others follow, no doubt. But what is in common there is that they're all in Vrindavan by the instruction of Mahaprabhu or Nityananda, by guidance from above. They're not going as tourists to go and make somewhere, oh, I'll be happy if I go there. I'll be happy if I live there. They're all going with some service, and they're going in order to render different services in Vrindavan. And so the 6 Goswamis, yes, they exemplify. And exemplify means perfect examples, right? Exemplify our attempts to serve the Dham and to serve Mahaprabhu, to serve Krishna consciousness. And where is the Dham? That too, Srila Guru Maharaj, when Srila Prabhupada, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada was feeling in poor health in the West, and he wrote to Guru Maharaj through Gurudev. He wrote to Gurudev with his question for Guru Maharaj, asking Guru Maharaj that, what is your advice? I'm feeling I could leave the world at any time. I'm thinking that if I come to Vrindavan, I can then leave the world in Vrindavan happily. And Srila Guru Maharaj replied to him, no, wherever you are engaged in your service, then there will be Vrindavan. So not to consider that we must be in Vrindavan as we know it in the world, because Vrindavan is not a geographical area. And so, yes, many things are there, and we have the not the Shikshastakam, the Sad Goswami Astakam, which of course describe the amazing feats of the six Goswamis and things that we cannot copy because we are not of that caliber at all. We cannot copy, but we worship. It's like the Madhura Rasa that we hear in the Srimad Bhagavatam and as given to us by Mahaprabhu, given to us by Krishnadas Kaviraj and the six Goswamis. We keep that on our head, and we keep the ideal, that extreme standard of the Goswamis on our head. But all of them are rendering service. All of them are only thinking automatically. Their whole thought is engaged in Krishna, Mahaprabhu, their service, as it is in the spiritual world. But the spiritual world exists here in the heart and in that environment of those pure devotees who come to this plane. So that example, they are the example of being Krishna conscious, not being mundane conscious and hoping to be Krishna conscious, but being Krishna conscious, the natural heart of the pure devotee, that flow upwards with not even temptation. The word temptation is probably not even in their dictionary. It's just, anything that's not Krishna conscious, it's nothing. Why will we be tempted by anything else? There's no question of temptation. Attempts to serve the Dham. Okay, but serving the Dham too. How does Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada define serving the Dham? Serving Navadip Dham, which is giving entrance to Vrindavan Dham, is by distributing the message of Gauranga. So this is one clear direction to us in this age, that in particular to distribute Mahaprabhu's message is to serve the Dham, and to serve Navadip Dham is automatically those credits are going to Vrindavan Dham. So everything is interrelated. It's not a cut and dried geographical thing of serving the Dham. And indeed, in the 10 offenses to the holy Dham, just as there are 10 principal offenses to the holy name, one of them is to consider that the holy Dham is a part of a geographical region of this world and belongs to any particular country or state. Anyway, this is sort of a brief summary because we are running over time just now. And I'm wondering if in your question, I'm wondering if any devotees know of a book by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur or other acharyas where this is highlighted. Navadip Dham Mahatmya, I'll go there. Navadip Dham Mahatmya, and it's the right time to be reading Navadip Dham Mahatmya. It's not on Mahaprabhu's appearance day just to pick up the book for that day and read something. Now is the right time to be reading that. When we read Navadip Dham Mahatmya, then we get some understanding of Vrindavan Dham, all the holy Dhams, and Navadip Dham being the crest jewel in Kali Yuga of all Dhams, and what is Navadip and the appreciation of also Ramanujacharya. We were just mentioning the Ramanandis. Ramanujacharya, Nimbakacharya, the great acharyas of our line. Then we see there in Navadip Dham Mahatmya the appreciation of Navadip, Gauranga, and Gauranga's message. Again, it's not like a physical party of like, oh, I'm of a nationality, so I belong. No, I'm going to fight for my nationality. In the material world, not that kind of identification, but the identification of this great treasure which has come to this world in the form of as Mahaprabhu and his Dham which is the whole of Mahaprabhu and his Dham and his associates. Nature is to distribute Vrindavan, Dham, etc. So, as a short summary, I would suggest that there we will give our attention and our focus, and we'll get everything there. And that's by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. 2 books, Navadip Dham Mahatmya and Navadip Bhavataranga. And they're published from our mat as one, in one cover, but the 2 books are in one cover. Hare Krishna. And would anyone, I think maybe Paramananda can suggest something in particular about the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. Do they exemplify our attempts to serve the Dham? And is there a book where this is highlighted? Just briefly, if you can, Paramananda. Yes.
Maharaj, I mean, there's so many books that are, first of all, their own books and so many other books. And actually, Chaitanya Charitamrita, if you pay attention, everything is in there. All of them. The very moments where they're infused with that special mercy by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to do that seva is described elaborately in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Them traveling there is also described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Their conduct, devotional conduct, is also described there. And there are books, but I'm hesitating to recommend any that I haven't heard any reference from Srila Govinda Maharaj about. There is one book that I heard reference, and the book is, I would say it's a bordering high literature. It's called Vrindavan Mahimamritam by Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, and I heard it just once, Srila Govinda Maharaj mentioning something from that book. But again, it's a very high book, and I still prefer that a devotee who wants to know more about Goswamis and their service in Vrindavan go to Chaitanya Charitamrita. And actually, Maharaj just mentioned, and this is actually perfect. Srinivasacharya's own composition glorifying Sad Goswamis and his Sad Goswami Ashtakam, 6 Goswamis, and perfectly in a condensed form, like Srila Guru Maharaj put Mahaprabhu's Leela in a condensed form, Prema Damadeva Stotram. So in condensed form, and that Ashtakam, their service to the Dham is very nicely described. And Maharaj already mentioned that. And there's, of course, Bhakti Ratnakar and other books that more of a describing their service, their exploits, we can say, devotional exploits. But that's more of a second generation. Another wave of the devotees of Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasacharya, Shamananda, and the Goswamis are mentioned there, but it's mostly dedicated to the second wave of the devotees.
Hare Krishna. Well, we've been transported to the Goswamis' lands today, and we're very grateful to Paramananda, to Krishna Priya Devi Dasi, and to this very living example of the grace of the Lord. And may we all begin to appreciate, believe in God. As Paramananda said, I began to believe in God when I saw that. May we all get more belief in God by hearing all of these topics, and by, through them, being on Parikrama and visiting the holy places, and visiting the holy places in the mood of pilgrims. So Paramananda, please give our obeisances and our affection to all of your associate travelers. And you know that going to Karoli and visiting Madana Mohan is one of those things that I have never done. And we sort of look at the possibility year by year. And I'm very happy that you have that possibility this year with the devotees, and that it'll be. And I would like to know the secret information from Keshavananda. Where does he put his little blogs about his travels? Because I would definitely like to look in through that secret hole to see what's going on, have a view to Keshavananda Prabhu's pilgrimage world.
He's very shy, Maharaj, but yes, I will insist on doing that.
Maybe
how is how is it possible that Priyananda and not Priyananda is following your travels there? How is she doing that? You mentioned that she's been kind of following your blog or something. How can we
Oh,
get
she
into
was
that?
when it just happened by the Lord's will that every time we go for a parikrama, Priyananda would tag along. Somehow it just happened, and it really is hard to explain. There was always Seva for her, of course, to document, to take photographs, to film.
Oh,
So all the parikramas are associated with Priyananda's presence, including our very last parikrama together, with small parikrama to South India, just before the world have changed once again. So we're all together in South India and Jagannath Puri, and she was also there. So yes,
wow.
it just happened. I don't know, Jivan, what to say.
That is wonderful.
I hope she is not
Amazing.
unhappy about that.
She didn't look at all unhappy about it.
All right, dear ones, lots more can be said, and I have on the tip of my tongue also various things to
Say
say.
it, Maharaj. One
but-
thing you can say before you finish. You say it, Maharaj, just one thing.
One thing.
Then you can conclude the meeting.
Well, I mean, one thing is here where we are guests in the home of Subhasini and Kumar, and Dr. Kumarji, and so we've been very much kind of on South Indian parikrama this last, these last 2 or 3 days, and in very much in the mood of South India. And actually, again, if you don't look out of the door and see it's Ireland, then we can really think we're in these holy places. Tirunelveli, places where Mahaprabhu went and where we were on South Indian parikrama too. So anyhow, some parikrama mood is in the air right now with devotees going and coming. And we heard just now also from Rupanuga Prabhu, the devotees there in Australia just getting ready. The ones that have started up that restaurant, they're getting ready. Parikrama, some of it rubs off onto us. And here's Priyananda doing parikrama of the Tomsk temple in the middle of Siberia in winter. Just all right, dear devotees, time is ticking, the world does tick, and I fulfilled Jadu Gopal Prabhu's wish, because he said, "Oh, I'm very shy to speak. I'm happy just to sit and listen." So I actually wanted to draw a few words from him today. But anyway, we may get a chance on Sunday because we'll be together in Limerick on the other side of Ireland today, or we're going today to the other side of Ireland. So we'll get a chance. There's another chance to say something to go Prabhu. Dandavats Hare Krishna. Yes, perfect. Dandavats, dear devotees. Hare Krishna. And Jai Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakha Krida Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Our Sri Rupa Nuba Guru Vaga ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mata, Srila Gurudev and Srila Guru Maharaj ki Jai. Jai to Sri Radha Govinda ji ki Jai. And to Radha Madana Mohan, Radha Govinda, Radha Gopinath Ju ki Jai. Oh, I'll let Paramananda do the Jais for all the deities in Jayapur. How did he get the name Jayapur?
Radha Madhava Maharaj.
Huh?
Jayadev Goswami's Radha Madhava is also here.
Radha Madhava was there, Radha Damara, Radha Gopinath, Radha Vinod.
Radha Vrindavan Chandra.
Radha Vrindavan Chandra. Anyhow, to all the Radha Krishnas. But I just had that thought. I never So why do they call Jaipur? Jaya, one meaning of Jaya is victory, and Pur is town. So is that the origin of the name Jaipur? Do we know? Victory.
Yes, Maharaj. Yes. And apparently it was dedicated, the whole city was dedicated as the city given to Govinda. He is the presiding personality.
Jai Shri Radha Govinda ki jai, and to Srila Rupa Goswami ki jai. In fact, okay, of course, Sri Rupa, Sanatan, Bhatta Raghunath, Sri Jiva, Gopala Bhatta, Dasa Raghunath, Sri Sad Goswami, the six. And it's sad, it means six, it doesn't mean the unhappy Goswamis. The six Goswamis ki jai. And to all the assembled Vaishnavas everywhere, in the middle of the night also, dear devotees, please excuse. But to all of you, our obeisances, our appreciation, and we'll meet again soon. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha, kripa sindhubhya evacha, patitanam pavanebhyo, vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Jai Srila Bhaktivedanta Madhusudan Maharaj ki jai.
Jai Shri
Jai.
Paramanand Prabhu ki jai, Krishna Priya Devi ki jai, Jeevanadi ki jai, and each of you ki jai, 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 Prema Sindhu Prabhu ki jai, quietly in the background. And seeing the darkness, I think you're back in South Africa, is my guess, because there is night still, similar time to here. All right, dear devotees, all best wishes, my Dandavat Pranam, our Dandavat. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, dear devotees. See you next time. Hare Krishna. Dandavat.